Hi everyone, this video is made for you if you are thinking of publishing your book. I'm extremely fortunate to be blessed with a very successful first book, and today I would like to share with you the tips, tricks, and also some of the common misconceptions that aspiring authors have. If you're going to write a book, there are few misconceptions that may stop you from starting. First, don't worry about being somebody. I get this a lot when someone tells me that I want to write a book, but I'm nobody. Who would read my book? Well, I'm a perfect example. I was nobody. I was failing in business. I was failing in my relationship, and I have a lot of friends. But in terms of success, it was certainly nothing to be really proud of at a major scale, but my book managed to sell really well. So don't worry about you not being somebody. Sometimes it's the other way around. You write a book so that you become somebody. Okay, so that's the first misconception. Second misconception, well, the book will help you in your business and career, but the book may not make you rich immediately. Therefore, don't expect to publish a book and then you would be rich immediately. No. While the book will help you open doors, it can bring you projects, it can bring you speaking engagements, it can bring you training opportunities, it can bring you projects and so on. Yes, opportunities are plenty when you have a book because now you are at a different playing level. You are an author, published author. However, it does not immediately make you rich yet, okay? So you need to think further. If you're going to publish a book, how do you monetize from your book? Book sales typically do not contribute a lot to your income. And if you go with publishers, then it will even take you a bit longer because it takes time before you get your royalties. Okay, so don't think about getting rich immediately if you want to publish a book. There's not many J.K. Rowlings out there, especially in Malaysia. Book sales is not as huge, or not many people are reading or buying books in Malaysia compared to the West. Third, you need to be good in language to write a book. No, you don't need to be good in language to write a book. Yes, you hear me right. If your English is not very good, you can still publish a good book. Your Mandarin, your Chinese, your Bahasa Malay is not very good, you can still publish a good book because it is not the author's job to have perfect language, because you can hire an editor and a proofreader, but the author's job, your job, is to write a good book with excellent, helpful content. So do not give up your hope or your dream of publishing a book just because you are not strong in language. Of course, I would strongly recommend you to improve your language by attending classes and learning from some teachers out there to improve your language, because it will help you in your book writing process. And the next misconception, the fourth misconception, is you need to spend a lot of money in publishing a book. Well, when I was writing my book, I had no money. Really, I didn't have much money, but I could still publish a book. There are many ways to go around. One way is to go with a publisher because that will reduce your risk and your initial cost. But if you do not have a publisher, you can still self-publish. You can still finance your books in many ways. You can get sponsorship, you can co-author, you can pre-sell. There are still a lot of ways for you to finance your book without having to pay a lot for your book. And fun fact, my biggest expenses in my book publishing was in my book launch, because money was spent in organizing the event. It was for buying food and beverage because I was charged by per head count. I had 130 packs in my book launch, videographer, photographer, and other service providers like printing, buntings, banners, backdrops, and those. Therefore, there are many ways to go about a lot of things. If you are able to show that you can give value, you can get it for free or almost free in a way. Fifth misconception that stop a lot of people from publishing a book is they always want to have a perfect book. Well, forget about the perfect book. No book is perfect, okay? If you want to do a perfect book, then don't bother writing, because you'll never have this book. A book is a book. It serves a purpose. It does not have to be perfect. Well, just to give you an example, my book was vetted through by two very experienced proofreaders. My former professor who has a PhD in English language, and also my proofreader who's a former English communications lecturer. Well, after they've gone through my book, I have gone through my book, and my publisher have gone through my book, four parties. There were still some mistakes, but it's okay. I haven't heard anyone complaining that, hey, there's a spelling or there's a grammar mistake here. Well, spelling would be a no-no because you have Microsoft Word, so that's fixed. But for grammar or for some minor English language errors, it's okay, because if your book is good, these minor mistakes become irrelevant. So there's 5 common misconceptions. Then now let's share with you the 5 golden rules in how you can become a bestseller. The first one, you need to know 2 plus 1 purpose why you want to publish a book. What is 2 plus 1? Okay, 2. First reason is for you. Why do you want to publish a book? For example, someone would say, I want to be a best-selling author because I want to leave a legacy for my next generation. Okay, that's self-serving. I want to be a best-selling author. I have this dream of being an author. So that's self-serving. But the world does not care about our own self-serving purpose yet until our product, our book, can help our community, or in other words, target audience or target market. So because I want to be a best-selling author, then my book has to help a certain community. For example, my book is supposed to help entrepreneurs to start their business with very low capital. Hence, there's 2 purposes here. One, helping myself to brand myself to be an author. That's a self-serving purpose. And next is to help entrepreneurs. So I'm very clear that my book is supposed to help entrepreneurs. And then what's the plus 1? The plus 1 would be a peripheral purpose, and it can be your second reason. For example, your book can be a motivation to your community to do something. It could be a guide. It could be a inspiration. Hence, that's 2 plus 1. 1 for myself, for yourself, 1 for your community, and you can plus 1 more. 2 plus 1, make it easy to remember. Okay, so find your purpose, because without your purpose, when you're writing, you may find it challenging, but once you know your purpose, then it will keep you going. And my book, my plus 1, was pretty interesting. It is a self-help book in a way when I was recovering from my breakup. So the one is for my career, and then the second reason is for my community, the entrepreneurs, and third is to help myself to recover from my low period. Okay, another very important one is all authors need to be marketers. Means you will need to know your niche market. Who is your book going to help? If you want your book to be a bestseller, you need to pick a niche, a target market or target audience which is specific enough yet broad enough. If you're going to write something that helps only surgeons, then you have a very small niche, too small, or judges, too small. Or if you broaden a bit, you want to help a book that helps doctors, write a book that helps doctors, or write a book that helps lawyers. Still, it's relatively small, because in a population like this, how many percent are the profession or are within the community that you want to help? Hence, you need to know exactly which community you want to help and be very clear about it, because all your activities, all your content would evolve around this community. And the most successful marketing strategies begin before you start writing. The first step is always to engage your community so you know what they want to read, what help they need, and your book is something useful to them because you know what they want. And next, you need to know your competition, because in the bookstore there are so many books, hundreds or thousands of books. What is so special about your book? When you find a niche, you are able to stand out within the crowd. Example, there are really many entrepreneurship books in the bookstores and online. Why did my book, oh by the way, this is my book, Now or Never, How to Start a Business with Only RM199. So there are really many books in the bookstore. Why did my book become one of the best sellers? Because I realized that in the bookstore, there's not many books that help local Malaysian entrepreneurs. There are many books from the US, the UK, top big brand names, and mine happened to be one that is very local, and you get to hear from someone like you. I guess I'm like everyone else, right? Hence, you need to know what is so special about your book, and you can do that by going to the bookstore and doing your research online. Of course, if you want to be a bestseller, you need to know how the bestseller system works in Malaysia. How do bookstores gauge a bestseller? What are the number of books that you need to sell in a week within the store or within the chain, and whether bookstores tabulate their bestseller list based on per store or based on a group of stores. While this may not be easily available, you need to do your research so that you can be on the bestseller list. One of the most powerful ways, golden rule for you to be a bestseller, is setting a goal by visualizing that it will happen. Every week, once I decided to write a book, I went to the bookstore and I just looked at the bestseller list. Every week I visualized that my book would be there. It's very daunting because at that point, I really could not visualize how someone like me, who people may even label as a nobody, could have a book and could go on to the bestseller list. The power of visualization works. It works beautifully. You should have your vision board. If you haven't done it, just put that as a graphical form, draw it or cut some newspapers and then paste on your vision board where you walk in and walk out your home and you sit every day, and you are reminding yourself consciously and subconsciously you will one day become a bestseller. And that's not enough. Once you have visualized that, that's only internally, so you convince yourself. Now do this. It takes a bit of courage, but please still go ahead and do this. Tell the world, yes, announce to the world, you are going to be a bestseller. Don't worry about the how, because when you know why you want to do it, eventually the universe, your friends and everyone will come and help you, because they will remind you, they will ask you questions like how's your book coming along, do you need help, what do you need, and things just work amazingly. You just have to believe with faith. When you want something bad enough, first you find the why, and then the know-how, the subsequent help will come to your way. Well, it's a process that I hope you get to experience, because to me it is one of life's greatest gifts to have a book that was on top 10 bestseller list for 21 weeks and was also 2017 top 10 business nominee along books by Tony Robbins, Jack Ma, Richard Branson, Tony Fernandez, and the list just goes on. I hope that's helpful. If you really want to write a book, please, the most difficult thing is having the discipline. Sit down every day, start writing. Don't think too much. Start writing today, tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. And one fine day, you see that you already have something. Writing is not difficult. Sitting down and making time for it is the part where you will know whether you could successfully publish a book. There you go. Hope you enjoy my short homemade video. I would love to see you being a bestseller.